Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'd like to start off by apologizing to the audience. I was very much looking forward to finally do something different than a Zoom call, but unfortunately, COVID decided otherwise. So I'm just gonna try to share my screen. Just tell me if it's working properly. So hi, everyone. My name is Felix Winckler. I'm one of the co-founder of Reflaunt, and our business in a nutshell is allowing fashion brands and retailers to get into the fashion secondhand trade. Our starting point is considering the environmental impact of the fashion industry. As some of you may know, the fashion industry is the second biggest polluter in the world. It accounts for about 10% of yearly CO2 emission. It requires immense resources to manufacture clothes, the usage of chemicals, fresh water, and so on. And what's even more scary is when you look at the amount of resources needed to create this output, you see that a big amount of the clothes that we produce every year end up in landfill. And when I mean big, I mean 92 million tons every year. So when you see this current situation, one has to wonder, how can we solve this problem? So there's a lot of very clever people working on changing or optimizing supply chain, on finding new materials. But currently, the single most effective solution to deal with the environmental impact of the fashion industry is extension of product life cycle. In other words, reuse. And this is where we come in. Our business is to allow fashion brands and multi-brand retailers get into the second-hand trade by implementing an in-house resale service for their customers. We provide the tech, but also operate these services. Now, the good news is that the second-hand market is not what it used to be. It's a market growing exponentially. It accounts for about 20 billion today, and some studies suggest that it will reach about 100 billion in the next 10 years. And the consumer behavioral change has already happened. So for retailer, this is a real financial opportunity as well, because a vast majority of the younger generation are already buying and selling secondhand products. They're very comfortable trading secondhand items. Vintage is cool. And people who are reselling are not necessarily people who are looking to make a few extra bucks. It's actually people with a lot of money who are looking to free up space in their wardrobe. And so a lot of retailers are now seeing the opportunity of implementing resale in the customer journey. And what we do is allowing retailers be onboarded in this new journey. In practical terms, what will we do? Well, we've got a very tailored approach, customizable approach, I would say, because everybody is different, depending on your price point, where you sit in the fashion spectrum, where your priorities are. One model will be better than another. And so there's not a one-size-fits-all model, and we're very flexible in that approach. We can build an integration on your website, or we can build a standalone web environment experience. We've got different level of services. We can help you implement a peer-to-peer approach, or a consignment model, or a buyback program. And finally, we can allow you to build a vintage offering if you're interested in selling secondhand product. But if you don't want to, we can also allow you to leave this selling part to the market. And so this is one of the specificity of our approach. Very early on, we considered that a lot of brands might not necessarily want to sell secondhand product. And also we considered that the secondhand market is already very dynamic. The secondhand market is very fragmented at a local level. So the players that you have in Switzerland that are the same ones that you'll find in Germany or in France, and obviously elsewhere in the world. And you've got so many players around the world that we considered, well, brands should leverage the existing ecosystem. So we build a multi-channel manager that allows us to list products simultaneously across the world on about 30 marketplaces worldwide. And this is a huge advantage for retailers who are looking to implement quite quickly a resale service and don't necessarily want to trade the secondhand product themselves. This is how it could look like. So as I said, it's possible to customize your approach and combine different level of services. So this is an example of a digital wardrobe that we create on the retailer's website in the My Account section of the shopper. So you go on the website of, say, Net-a-Porter, for example, you go into your account section and you can view your past purchases history. And underneath, you can see a resell button that allows you to resell those pieces. In complement, you can also schedule collections and have a consignment model that can complement this first peer-to-peer approach. So this is a practical example of how the product could look like. Finally, just to illustrate the customer journey, again, the idea is you interact with the brand through this resale service. So the whole idea is to leverage this service to bring customers on your website or to re-engage with you post-sale. So I'm going to go on the website of the brand or the retailer, like Net-a-Porter, for example. I resell my items one way or another. We broadcast these products on our network of marketplaces. And here is where the customer and the brand both get a really interesting trade-off. Once the item is sold, we're going to tell the customer either you get paid in cash or you get a higher return in store credit with the retailer. So we build on all of our resale model store credit scheme that incentivizes the customers to resell through the brand. And we're effectively telling the customer that they're making more money by reselling through the brand. And for the brand, this is a really powerful way to increase customer retention and generating a new source of cash flow. And we've seen through the different deployment that we've had that the vast majority of customers choose store credit versus cash. So this is a very virtuous cycle that we're trying to build, where basically we incentivize customers to resell before buying new. And this is a model where retailers can generate profit on top of doing something good for the planet. So we work with a broad variety of brands. We're a fairly young company, but in the last 2 years, we signed a number of big brands. We work with high street brands like H&M or COS. We work with affordable luxury brands like Bash, luxury brands like Balenciaga, but also a number of multi-brand retailers like Net-a-Porter or brick and mortar retailers like Harvey Nichols. To step back for a second, what is our long-term view? Our objective, as I said, is to make resale more accessible, to create more endpoints, to make these services as an essential element of the customer journey. And so by creating all these endpoints, we are looking to create more efficiency in the resale market. The goal here is to fight counterfeiting. If the resale starting point is the brand's environment, you contribute the fight against counterfeiting, or you control the flow of products that end up on the market. You bring more liquidity in the market as well, because if you create more endpoint, people will sell more, and so there's more products available. And also you get more insight. So you optimize the valuation of products on the secondhand market. So our goal is really to create more liquidity and more efficiency in the secondhand market and making an essential part of the customer journey.
Felix, just a heads up that you actually have reached the end of your slot, but I'll let you quickly finish.
This is my last slide.
Fantastic.
So my last point is to say that the end point of all of this is to create a positive cycle of consumption, and this is our overall goal. Thank Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Felix, for joining us today.